Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. So today I wanted to go over some more updates, some more information regarding the Gabby Petito case. I want to talk about the press conference that her parents held, and I also want to talk about this new information coming out about what I consider to be Brian Laundrie's head start, the potential for it allegedly. Now where I left off last is that Dog the Bounty Hunter had gotten involved in the case. He actually showed up to the Laundrie's home. He knocked on the door. Of course, they did not answer the door, but they did call the police on him. Now, also, Dog gave some interviews, and he gave his speculation, or his opinion, I should say, of where he thought some of the places that Brian Laundrie could be. Okay, so there's a 2-cent version of that. Now, since then, like the next day or whatever, he got some really solid intel and some tips and followed them through. And to me, in my opinion, the information that he found out, I was like, oh, whoa, this confirms a lot of stuff. And it also opens up this whole other can of worms called questions for the parents. So this new tip is alleging that Brian went into a campground. It's like 75 miles away from their home, the family home, and that he went there with his parents. Now, the name of this campground is Fort DeSoto. It's in Pinellas County, Florida. And just to give a little perspective of what it looks like, let's take a look on Google Maps. Fort DeSoto Park is located in Pinellas County and is about 75 miles away from the Laundrie's home, Wabasso Avenue. It spans more than 1,130 acres and consists of 5 keys. Now, allegedly, this tip is also saying that, 3 people were seen coming, only 2 were seen leaving. So that is huge to me. So Dog the Bounty Hunter told Fox News in an interview that, the intel, the tip, whatever, is saying that he, meaning Brian, went to this park 2 different times in the beginning of September with his parents, the 1st through the 3rd and the 6th through the 8th. Now, I do have some questions about that. At the time of this recording, my understanding, I'm coming to the Sofa Squad for this one. My understanding is that Dog has video evidence. He's seen it. Yes, we can place him there for those second dates. The 1st through the 3rd, I haven't been able to see any kind of absolute confirmation like that. If y'all know of that and I'm just not finding it out there, please let me know. Now, I'm going to also here in a couple of minutes briefly go over the timeline, because depending on if it's factual, yes, the 1st through the 3rd, the 6th through the 8th, whatever, then that makes it also entirely different thing. Because look at it this way. If Brian got back on September 1st, and that same day him and his parents went to this park and camping, 100%, why would you do that? That does not even make sense. So you see where I'm going with that? Only to then go back a couple of days later, I'm just like, yeah, absolutely not. Now, does that mean that if I can't confirm the 1st to the 3rd and the 6th to the 8th is the only time? No, I still feel the same way. It's just the 1st through the 3rd make it even more sketchy.
The parents were down here 2 times. It was September 1st through the 3rd and September 6th through the 8th. They registered to stay at this park. They were registered, went through the gate, they're on camera, they were here. And they did enter, they did come here. Allegedly, what we're hearing is 2 people left on the 8th, 3 people came in on the 6th, and 2 people left on the 8th.
So as Dog said, they were registered, they're on camera, they went through the gate, they have been here. And since then, I have seen postings of people finding the reservation, which was under the mother's name for Spot 1 Waterfront. Now, the Laundrie's attorney is still just doubling down on everything. He's like, look, they don't know where Brian is. They're concerned about Brian, and the speculation that, they helped him get a head start, all this stuff is, absurd. That is just absolutely not true. Now, the attorney did confirm, yeah, they were there during that, the 6th to the 8th or whatever. So he's confirmed this camping trip. So that's where I'm just okay. Now, here's a couple of things too with that. I always go down this road of, and this is my speculation, this is, just my opinion right here. So I'm always like, look, surely the investigators, FBI, people like that, whatever, know more than we do. One would hope in these kind of investigations. So the fact that investigators, people like that, as of this recording, aren't really acknowledging much about that whole location. That just seems really weird to me, because for all intensive purposes and reasons, it very much looks like he's not anywhere near the Carlton Reserve. The car was a decoy that was planted there as a way to give him a head start to go somewhere. Now, again, that is not factual. That has not been proven. All that stuff. That is my speculation. It just seems really suspect. So when I try and look at both sides of the coin, I'm like, well, maybe they know something, the investigators, whoever, that, I don't know. And so that's why they're just like kind of doubling down. Again, hopefully by the time this comes out, number one, they would have called him. Number two, they might be like, look, we're checking over here, we're checking over there, whatever, besides the Carlton Reserve. So again, let's just go over a quick recap of the chain of events here. So September 1st, he returns home with the van without Gabby. So we know for a fact there had to be some conversation there. Okay, I said this in my last video about it. There had to be something as to why his fiance is not with him. Okay, so there's that. Now we have these two dates, right? The 1st to the 3rd potentially. So that would mean they hopped in the car same day and left. That would tell me that he came home and said, something's happened, I'm gonna be in trouble. So they left. But again, y'all let me know what you find out on there, and I'll update when I find more too. So then we have the 6th to the 8th, a second trip that the attorney is confirming, and the attorney is saying they all left the park. Again, I haven't seen any video evidence of, them leaving, coming, going, all that kind of stuff, so I can't firsthand say. I'm just going through what I have found. Now, all that being said, remember, Gabby is then reported missing just a few days later on September 11th. So all this stuff is taking place, regardless of dates, times, who went where, whatever. All this stuff is taking place days before Gabby is officially, considered a missing person by her family and not by Brian and his family. So then fast forward a little bit. September 14th is when the parents, the lawyer, are all saying, okay, this is when Brian left the home, he left the cell phone, the wallet, he is going to the Carlton Reserve to go hiking, yada, yada, yada. They don't see him the next day, they go looking and they don't find him. And they find his car though with a note from the cops saying, hey, this car needs to be moved or whatever. So they leave it there so that he can have a way to get back home. And then they don't see him the next day, so they go back and retrieve the car, and then they report him missing the next day. So here's the issues that I have with this. So all that goes on beforehand. Gabby is reported missing. Just right in the tail of that, he goes hiking in the Carlton Reserve, leaves his phone and wallet at the house, allegedly, and leaves the car there, and he's gone. And so the parents go to check on him. Well, he needed a way to get back, and did it, so we left the car. And I'm just like, who does that? Honestly, why would you go hiking to that degree and not bring a phone, a mode of communication with you, unless you're trying to be off grid and not be found? You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing just gives me pause, and it really makes me question the motivation of the parents, how much they know, how much they don't know, so on and so forth on that realm. Now, what this is very much reminding me of, serving me vibes of, is Ethan Couch. That was the affluenza case, if you remember that. It's from several years ago. That was the guy who stole the lives of 4 innocent people while he was driving under the influence, and he got diagnosed with affluenza, like he was too affluent to know that he was responsible for anything, and literally got a slap on the wrist. So that was already a slap in the face to everybody, including the victims and their families. But on top of that, then he kept getting in trouble. And remember, the mother took him like Mexico or something like that. So you quickly saw kind of like beneath the surface of how this family operated and how much they were enabling him and hiding him and helping him get away. And so that brings us back to the current situation with Brian. It just feels very much like that. Now, obviously, this hasn't been proven, this is alleged, all that kind of stuff. Now, I've watched like documentaries and whatnot on parents, family members, whatnot, that talk about having a sibling, a loved one, someone very close to them that has committed these horrifying acts. And it's always, to me, psychologically interesting to see that dynamic, to be like, wow, what would you do if you've known this person as this, and then they do blank, you know what I'm saying? But one common theme that I kind of see is most people still are like, no, you know what? They did something wrong. It is what it is. I might love them as a father, a brother, a sister, whatever, but this is wrong what they did, and they need to be held accountable. So when you see situations like this, where you see parents, or whoever in this case, obviously, what appears to be his parents, doing anything they can to help him evade, again, my opinion, it just creates a whole different vibe, and it raises all the questions that everybody is standing outside their house yelling at them over. So let's talk about the press conference that Gabby's parents, all four of them, held along with the attorney. So, yeah, I mean, as we know, these things are so hard to watch, and my hat really goes off to all members of this family. Number one, for finding their way through such a horrifyingly tragic event like this, but also the way that they are looking at this and not wanting this to be in vain, and their outlook on other cases and whatnot. So let's just take a look at some of the aspects of this press conference.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that we encountered out west in Wyoming, all of the law enforcement agencies out there.
I don't think we can thank everybody enough. I really want to thank the Aware Foundation and We Help the Missing for putting her poster out there. It reached over 2 million people.
I'd actually like to thank all you guys, all right, ladies and gentlemen of the media, press, especially the people that are behind the camera. All right, they don't get enough credit for what it is that they do.
So first of all, they were very thankful to everybody who has been coming together for this case. They're finding her, fighting for her, and by her, I mean Gabby.
We're just hoping that through our tragedy with losing Gabby, that in the future, that some good can come out of it, that we can help other people that may be in a similar situation, reach out to these other organizations that do similar things and find out what's missing. You know, what can we do to fill that void? What can we do to help people?
Now, as we see, they want to make something good come from this awful situation where the Gabby Petito Foundation is coming. And I think that's amazing that they are utilizing this tragedy to move forward with something positive. Now, their attorney also had very stern words for Brian's family.
For the Laundrie's silence, the Laundries did not help us find Gabby. They're sure as not going to help us find Brian. For Brian, we're asking you to turn yourself in to the FBI or the nearest law enforcement agency.
And I think a lot of us can agree with him. I mean, at this point, it's like, turn yourself in, dude. You know, and just like I said, they weren't helping find Gabby, okay? It was quite the opposite. So that part is really infuriating to me. Now, her father also took the time to urge the press and everybody to put this same energy forward to everyone's cases like this, and that this same energy, that, I mean, literally, like everyone coming together to get answers, this should be done for all missing persons like this, and not just, you know, one singled out person. And I thought that was amazing that he used his platform to state that and to directly, you know, but to direct a lot of this toward the press that was right there in front of him.
I don't want to dismiss the ridiculously hard work that the FBI and law enforcement all around did, but social media has been amazing and very influential. To be honest, it should continue for other people too. This same type of heightened awareness should be continued for everyone.
My heart goes out to Gabby and her family. They just sounded like a group of amazing people. And also, you know, to all the people that are still coming together, putting all this information together to bring this monster out of hiding. Now, I've put, again, links down below, as well as contact info if you do have tips where you can reach out to, like, Dog the Bounty Hunter, the FBI, things of that nature. So anyways, thank you very much for sitting here watching. I really appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you back here at the sofa.